Okay, so imagine this for a moment. Not politics, not religion, but a question older than both. A question built not on belief, but on evidence, on experiments, on data published in the most respected scientific journals on Earth. The question is simple. Where do we come from? Not your family, not your species. Before that, much before that. A violent planet, no oxygen, no ozone layer, constant meteor impacts. And somehow, life appeared. The unsettling part, we still don't know exactly how. But recently, science has come closer than ever to an answer. And what it's finding doesn't just explain our origins, it makes them far more disturbing. Number 10. A world that should have killed everything. To understand life, you first have to understand where it began. And early Earth wasn't just hostile, it was catastrophic. Formed around 4.6 billion years ago, the planet spent hundreds of millions of years in chaos. Its surface was molten, its atmosphere was toxic. There was no oxygen, no ozone layer, nothing to block the sun's ultraviolet radiation. Asteroids struck constantly, volcanoes erupted without pause. Oceans, if they existed, were unstable, boiling, evaporating, reforming. By every definition we use today, Earth was uninhabitable. And yet, around 3.7 billion years ago, something appeared, the first confirmed evidence of life. Fossil structures known as stromatolites, discovered in Greenland. Layer by layer, they were built by microorganisms living in shallow waters. According to National Geographic, these structures represent some of the oldest direct evidence of life on Earth. But there's something even more unsettling. In 2025, studies reported by New Scientist suggested that life may have appeared even earlier, during the Hadean, the most violent phase of Earth's history. Inside ancient zircon crystals, scientists found carbon signatures consistent with biological processes dating back 4.1 billion years. That means life may have emerged while the planet was still actively trying to erase it, not after stability, during chaos. Number 9. The week we created life's building blocks. In 1953, a graduate student named Stanley Miller asked a dangerous question. What if life isn't as special as we think? Working under Harold Urey at the University of Chicago, he built a closed glass system. Inside it, he recreated early Earth: water vapor, methane, ammonia, hydrogen. Then he introduced lightning, artificial electrical discharges to simulate the storms of the ancient world. And then he waited. Within days, the liquid darkened. When analyzed, it contained amino acids, the fundamental building blocks of proteins, the same molecules that make up every living organism today. The results were published in Science, but the story didn't end there. In 2008, scientists revisited Miller's original sealed samples and found over 20 different amino acids, more than he had ever detected. Then, in 2021, researchers from the CSIC discovered something even more unexpected. The glass container itself was part of the reaction, acting as a catalyst, meaning Miller didn't just simulate the atmosphere and ocean, he also simulated the geology of early Earth without realizing it. He didn't create life, but he demonstrated something far more unsettling. Life's ingredients can emerge automatically from basic chemistry. Number 8. The universe chose a side. There is something deeply strange about life, something hidden in every cell. All known life uses amino acids in one specific orientation, left-handed. In chemistry, molecules can exist in mirror forms, left and right, and in laboratory conditions, they appear in equal amounts. But biology doesn't follow that rule. It made a choice and never changed it. Every organism, every species, every cell follows the same molecular direction. Why?
One explanation is chance. The first replicating system used one orientation, and everything else inherited it. But another hypothesis points beyond Earth. Research in biochemistry suggests that radiation in space, specifically circularly polarized light, can favor one orientation over the other. If that's true, then part of your biology was decided before this planet even existed. Number 7. Life began already complex. In 2024, scientists from the University of Bristol published a study in Nature, Ecology, and Evolution. They were investigating Luca, the ancestor of all life. What they found was unexpected. Luca existed around 4.2 billion years ago, extremely early in Earth's history. And it wasn't primitive. It already had a basic immune system, proteins capable of interacting with viruses. It lived in extreme environments, likely near hydrothermal vents, feeding on chemical energy. Researcher Sandra Alvarez Carretero highlighted something remarkable. Life didn't slowly emerge over billions of years. It appeared almost immediately, as soon as conditions allowed it. Or perhaps as soon as conditions couldn't stop it. Number 6. Life without the sun. In 1977, a deep-sea exploration changed biology forever. Using the submersible DSV Alvin, scientists explored the ocean floor. What they found shouldn't have existed. Entire ecosystems thriving in total darkness, centered around hydrothermal vents. These vents release hot, mineral-rich fluids from the Earth's interior. No sunlight reaches them, and yet life flourishes, using chemical energy instead of solar energy. This discovery rewrote biology. Today, scientists like Nick Lane argue that these environments may have been the birthplace of life itself. Natural proton gradients, mineral surfaces acting as catalysts, constant energy flow. Everything needed for metabolism was already there. Life may not have required a miracle, only the right conditions.
Number 5. The paradox that shouldn't exist. DNA stores information. Proteins carry out functions. But there's a problem. You need proteins to copy DNA, and DNA to make proteins. So which came first? For decades, this paradox blocked every theory. The answer may lie in the RNA world hypothesis. RNA can do both, store genetic information and catalyze reactions. A single molecule capable of starting the process. This discovery earned Thomas Cech and Sidney Altman the Nobel Prize, and it suggests something unsettling. The first life form may have been nothing more than a molecule replicating itself in the dark. Number 4. Life's code was written in space. In 2026, scientists analyzing material from the Hayabusa 2 mission made a discovery that changed everything. On the asteroid Ryugu, they found the complete set of nucleobases, the building blocks of DNA and RNA: adenine, cytosine, guanine, thymine, uracil, all of them in space. Published in Nature Astronomy, the finding confirmed that the ingredients of life form naturally, without biology, across the universe, carried by asteroids, delivered to planets. Earth didn't create life from nothing. It inherited the pieces. Number 3. The planet built its own laboratory. One of the biggest problems in origin of life research is concentration. Molecules in the early ocean were too diluted, too scattered, too unlikely to interact. In 2024, scientists at the Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich proposed a solution: microscopic cracks in rocks. Under heat gradients, these tiny spaces act like natural filters, separating molecules, concentrating them, encouraging complexity. Led by Christoph Most, experiments showed that these environments could produce long molecular chains, the direct precursors of life. The early Earth didn't need a lab, it was the lab. Number 2. Everything alive is related. There is one fact in biology that changes everything once you truly think about it. The genetic code is universal. Every organism on Earth uses the same system, the same molecular language, from bacteria to plants to humans. There is only one explanation. All life comes from a single origin, one event, one system that worked and never stopped. Every living thing is part of that chain, including you. Number 1. The question that remains unanswered. We can simulate early Earth. We can create amino acids. We can find life's ingredients in space. But one question remains. How did chemistry become alive? At some point, matter crossed a boundary from passive reactions to self-replication, from chemistry to biology. That moment has no record, no fossil, no trace. It is the deepest unknown in science. And the most unsettling part is what it implies. Because if it happened once under conditions we now know are common, then the real question is no longer how life began here, but how many times it has begun elsewhere, and whether somewhere it went further. The most disturbing part isn't what exists out there, it's realizing we're only just beginning to ask the right questions. And remember, the universe doesn't reveal its secrets to those who rush, it reveals them to those who know how to look. Subscribe and keep listening to the silence.